Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, we have some additions here to the agenda. You should have a copy in front of you there. Cigarette permit, Fairway Store number 705, and Randy's Neighborhood Market. So I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda with those additions.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Mark, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, as we go through these, some of them I'll refer you to color of the paper about which each of these items may pertain to. So here we go with the consent agenda. You have a copy of the minutes of May 6, 2024. We have a tax abatement application for Clear Lake Development LLC, 1200 Jade Street. That's a 10-year, 100% abatement. Those are your green sheets. C, Surf District Streetscape Destination Iowa Project Change Order Number 2 of a deduction of $28,730.15. That's on a pink sheet. D, we have a resolution 2442, a resolution approving contract and bonds for the 2024 alley improvement project. That amount is $63,236.32. That is a blue sheet. Since that's a resolution, the entire consent agenda will have a roll call vote when we get complete. E, alley closure request from Ellie's Lounge, the north half of the alley only, in conjunction with various Clear Lake Chamber special events. Those are on white sheets. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you have a copy. We have the following licenses and permits: liquor license, special class C retail alcohol license. It's an 8-month event license. Avion Azul. Class B retail alcohol license, Quick Trip. Special Class C retail alcohol license, Lucky Wife Wine Slushies. Class C retail alcohol license, K and B Emporium. First, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Dana, seconded by Bennett, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mark?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Beth Ann?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved, 5-0. Thank you. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, give your address so the city clerk can properly enter in the minutes. Not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have approximately 3 to 5 minutes. None appearing. We'll go on to unfinished business. None appearing. Directly to new business. 6A, naming of depositories for funds of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa. These are yellow sheets. Review a request. Jacob Woodman, Director of Finance and Administrative Services. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So just a little bit of kind of housekeeping here with the depositories. So under Iowa law, we are required to have a depositories resolution where we name the banks and the financial institutions that we deposit our funds in. I know most of you are probably familiar with the FDIC insurance of up to $250,000. So we receive that, and then Iowa law also has on top of that additional insurance. So any funds that we have above the 250 are additionally assured in case a bank was to go insolvent where we had our funds. And then we also can do some investing. It's limited, but you'll see in our yellow sheets there, the depository resolution. We have 4 different ones named. So Clear Lake Bank and Trust right here in town, and then Manufacturers Bank and Trust. Those are the 2 major ones that we work with. And then the Edward Jones and Company. So this was actually kind of brought about from our audit this last year. The auditors made a comment that it had been a few years since we updated our depositories resolution, and the Library Foundation has some funds with Edward Jones, and so they thought it would be good for us to go ahead and update our resolution and make sure we had that in there. So that's what that one is. And then kind of as a backup, we have the Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust. We can also put funds there. Historically, we haven't really put the funds there because we try to keep them in Clear Lake here as much as we can to help our local banks and to help the local economy. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Nothing too exciting, but just making sure that our records match up with our practices and that everything's up to date. Questions?
Questions for Jacob, Council?
I was just going to add a lot of thanks to our local banks for being so interested in our placements here. That's not always the case in many communities, and that's why when you see the IPAT on there, the Iowa Public Investment Trust, many communities will invest there because the local banks don't have the appetite or the interest for the placement from the local governments there. So we actually have been investing here with our local banks for as long as I've been here, and then before that, and receiving a higher rate than IPAT, which is mandated to give a particular rate. So we're doing far better than that with the local banks.
I will say it is really nice to have a local partner here in town that's willing to work with us and give us those good rates. The community that I came from before Clear Lake, we were looking at investing funds in IPAT because the community banks weren't able to match it. But like Scott said, here in Clear Lake, they match it and exceed it sometimes. And so we're really thankful for that and their partnerships.
Yeah, I'd just say, as you know from our budget, in years past where rates weren't as lucrative as they are today, we were earning almost nothing on those investments. And today, Jacob just placed a CD here recently, I think $2.5 million. We're over 5% on that one. So definitely the funds that we have in reserve are working for us and bringing in some good income for us.
Mm-hmm. Positive relationships, very, very important. And
For sure.
We've had that for some time, so. Thank you, Jacob.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2443, a resolution awarding naming depositories for funds for the city of Clear Lake.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Creighton, that we approve Resolution 2443. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Creighton.
Yes.
Beth Ann.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
And Mark.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2443 is duly adopted. 6B, Ludwig Wanberg Municipal Bandshell and Lakeview Room Improvement Project. Project update, review of payment number 1. Matt Stedding, our city engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Mr. Mayor, Council, hope everybody had a great day today. Going over here the pay requests for the period ending 5/6/24. So please note here the original contract sum in the amount of $754,000 to Dean Snyder Construction. We have a contract completed to date amount here of $35,000, less our standard 5% retainage, brings us to that current amount owed this period of $33,250.00, leaving that remaining contract to finish of $720,750 for this project. So we have just a little update here on the Lakeview Room. The painters are in and they're set to be finished end of this week. They actually weren't proposed to paint the piece behind the band shell area, but they moved the band equipment and they got up in there and they got that painted, so they're going to be on pretty good schedule as far as that goes. They're going to finish the Lakeview Room portion here, like I said, at the end of this week. The flooring is set to come in on Friday, so they're going to get that started. And next week, tile for the family restroom is set to get installed. And then electrical will be finished up. They have a few wires left to pull on that, so they're gonna get that buttoned up. And then they are waiting on some casework to finish the kitchen area, so hopefully that comes in on time, which they keep telling me that it is. I said just call 12 times and we'll make sure, or you'll make somebody mad and we'll be in the same boat. So they're gonna work on that. On a happy note, they did get the hose bib through and the parks can water the flowers and everything will look pretty out front. So no, they're set to be on schedule, and as of right now, the plan is still, they're waiting on the bathroom partitions for the public restroom portion, so that's still set on hold until more than likely after Labor Day is when they're gonna tear into those. So those will remain open for everything going on, so the community can still use those. And then they'll start on that band shell and public restroom portion after Labor Day. If they get the bathroom partitions in, which is a possibility, then there's potential that we may try to take a week period and knock that out, but we'll be coordinating and make sure that the council girls are happy. So that's always my number one goal. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Well, many thanks to the, I believe there were high school kids on a service project that planted those flowers out front. Looks to me like they
Yep,
did.
They planted flowers in a few different areas around town.
Hmm.
I know they planted, FFA, I believe, planted some out front here of City
Yeah.
Hall, so it was a good project.
Yeah, that's a neat project, really. Really is. I know this is done through Park and Rec, but they're repairing the merry-go-round.
Correct, yep, I believe
Yeah.
they took that out. It's due for some maintenance, I believe.
Yeah, that's
Iconic piece, though.
iconic. That's good word.
However, it makes the insurance guy to my right
Yeah, we
break out in a cold sweat.
We don't say that in the same breath.
That's good for the kids.
Thanks,
Yep.
Matt. Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2443, a resolution awarding I'm on the wrong pew here. Motion to approve pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $33,250 to Dean Snyder Construction for the Lund-Wanberg Municipal Bandshell Lakeview Room Improvement Project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana, that we approve pay estimate number 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same, motion carries. 6C, rezoning request from Brandon and Dennis Rubish of Lakeside Acres to rezone a parcel of property by expanding an existing RS12, which is high-density, single-family residential district, by changing a portion of an existing CC2, which is community commercial district, to RS12, which is high-density, single-family residential zoning, and additional portion of CC2 to CI1, intensive commercial, and establishing an OPDH zone, which is Planned Development Housing Overlay District, for the same. And review, Mr. Flory. Welcome, Scott.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Nothing in your packet on this one tonight, but just in the way of review and the landowners here this evening. That individual made a request at the previous council meeting under the citizens' opportunity to address the council to have the proposal modified, and essentially what the modification was to take out the zoning requests that pertain to the RFBH, the factory-built housing zoning designation, and just make the entire thing RS12, the entire site RS12. So the request would change by that piece. It was about a 5-acre piece in the middle that was going to be rezoned the RFBH. So again, keeping the entire tract, the RS12, all the way down to the bottom, which would stay the same at the CI1, which is the intensive commercial. So in consultation with the city attorney, felt like the appropriate cause of action here would be to send this to Planning and Zoning Commission for review and recommendation back to the council. So the next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission is on Tuesday the 28th here in the council chamber. So I understand that is on the agenda for that meeting. And then by the motion tonight, you'll also set the date for the hearing on this proposal in consideration of the Planning and Zoning recommendation at that meeting that you'll have on June 3rd. And so, again, the proposal is to change the tract. Again, the northern part is already zoned RS12. So just continuing on with the track down the RS-12 the rest of the way, except for the bottom piece, which would be the CI-1 intensive commercial. So the OPDH has also been modified. The overlay district, that's also been modified to reflect these changes. So that will also be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting on the 28th, and that'll be brought back for a recommendation as well. So I think as the landowner had presented a layout at the last meeting, that the concept has changed quite a bit from the first iteration that was put forward. So lot sizes are different, street configurations and layout are different, and of course the makeup of the dwellings that would be constructed within the development have changed from that first iteration as well. So that's all I've got in terms of background, unless anybody has any questions.
So the procedure, once again, Scott, will be if council approves that this will be go back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for review and recommendation of this particular plan. And that will be an opportunity for the Lakeside Acres owners to be there and present as well.
Oh, yes, yeah.
With that in front, and then they will decide if it should be sent back or recommended to come back to city council.
Correct.
With whatever their pleasure is at the
Yes,
time.
yes, I would imagine the landowner would present, as he did here the other night, the revised proposal, and that would be taken up by the Planning and Zoning Commission and voted on for recommendation to be brought back to the council.
And thus, the former one is moot. It's, yeah, inexistent, okay. Any other comments, questions, council? Okay, thank you, Scott. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to refer property owner's request for rezoning to Planning and Zoning Commission for review and recommendation at the May 28th meeting and establishing June 3rd at 5:30 p.m. as the public hearing on said proposal before the city council at that time. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve the request for rezoning to Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. 7, I-35 South 24th Street Water Tower Painting Project. Project update, review of pay estimate number 1. Mr. Stedding, welcome again. Matt?
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you very much. Be going over the pay application here from O&A Classic Coatings for the East Water Tower Rehabilitation Project. So that original contract amount was $295,500. Total completed to date, $172,500, less our 10% retainage on this project of $17,250. Brings us to that current payment due of $155,250.00, which leaves that balance to finish there at the bottom of $140,250. So this pay application, there's a little bit of lag through the process here. So the project is actually finished. So we'll be getting the remainder of this closed out here shortly on this next period. But Tim Wilson, just a short story here. Tim Wilson with Dixon Engineering. He was the project manager on this project, and Adam gave me a call about last week. He's like, hey, you need to get over here and you need to strap up and climb this thing. So I went over, I said, all right, I'm game. So I went over, harnessed up and climbed up to the top. And I have to say that was, pictures do not do justice of standing on top of a 1-million-gallon water tower. So that was quite the event there. But the project, consisted, you had guys that would strap themselves up to the top and hang off with ropes hang off the side to do all the sandblasting and the painting. So these guys, they're out there risking their life basically, and they did a really good job. But we got that exterior coating done. they went inside. I actually crawled inside of the water tower and looked at that, and they did some spot repair in there on any little small corrosion areas. And they actually put a cathodic protection system in there, which is actually a bunch of, layman terms, it's a bunch of anodes, almost like a water heater, but that collects any corrosion that could possibly happen inside, and it just mitigates that from future corrosion risks inside. So it's kind of a neat system. And yeah, that pretty much wraps that project up. If you guys have any questions at all, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So everything's refilled, the tower's full again and.
Correct, we're
rebuilt?
back online, and Adam's super happy,
I
so
bet
he's not sweating bullets anymore about the water system. So no, it's good to get everything back online. Everything's functioning good, so.
Excellent, thank you.
When everything is filled up, and which probably never is totally filled to the top, we're always drawing some. What do we got, 2.2 million, I suppose?
2.25.
Yep.
2.25?
Yep. So, and yes, there's an overflow. If you crawl inside of the tank, it's kind of cool. I got pictures if anybody wants to see it, but there's an overflow at the top where if it ever gets up there, then it goes through the overflow pipe. But usually Adam holds it about 2 feet under that, so.
And Scott, what is it, the state recommends 1.86? It used to be, didn't it?
So the state requires that you have 1 day's average demand in supply, which for us is about 1 million gallons. And their recommendation is that you have 1 day's peak demand, which for us is closer to that 1.9 number.
Interesting.
So like when, in the summertime, so that's usually when that peak hits, is so like the week here of the 4th of July, when I think we've hit sometimes over 2 million going through the water plant. So yeah, we're definitely more than what is required, and certainly exceeding the recommended level.
Well, it's neat to have that completed. Thank you, Matthew. Entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 with regard to I-35 South 24th Street Water Tower Painting Project. Pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $155,250. Motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Creighton, seconded by Mark, that we approve pay estimate number 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 8, Surf District Destination Iowa MEIC Improvement Project Update and Review of Pay Estimate number 1. Matt, you're up again.
Thank
These
you,
are
Mr.
yellow sheets, by the way.
Yeah, these are your yellow sheets. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So, as Mayor stated, this is period here for ending 5/6 of '24 for the MEIC building. Original contract amount to Dean Snyder Construction in the amount of $5,004,416.70. We have a payment due here of $45,477.41, less our standard 5% retainage of $2,273.88. Brings us to that current total amount due of $43,203.53, which leaves us with that remaining contract of $4,961,213.17 to be billed out. Most of this, just a quick update here on this original pay app, was mobilization, getting everything set up, contractors in place, everybody getting familiarized with everything. And we had, right now, they got the foundation dug, they got fill brought in, got everything stabilized, they got the footings in, and those are being completed as we speak, and they're pretty much wrapped up. And then now they'll really start going vertical here. But we were forced, kind of tasked there with some weather conditions that weren't ideal there for a while, so that slowed progress a little bit. But things are starting to move now, and I think you'll really start to see things take place here in the next few weeks. So that's kind of a project update right now. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions for Matt, Council? Thank you, Matt. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 to Dean Snyder Construction, the amount of $43,203.53 with regard to the MEIC improvement project at the Surf District destination. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve pass number 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, same, motion carries. Chief of Police report, both the chief and the captain are away at a conference tonight, so we'll dismiss that one. Director of Finance Administrative Services report, Jacob? Jacob has none. Public Work Director's report, Jeremy. Jeremy Kornberg, welcome, Jeremy.
Mayor, council. Just a couple quick things. Obviously, you can tell Main Avenue, we got the water main patchwork completed last week. Had to do a little bit of adjustment on the storm sewer that was there, but we're able to work through that and get everything patched back. The previous week, we, as a department, attended a traffic incident management class along with the other first responders here in town to kind of get oriented with some techniques and things that would happen during a traffic emergency or some type of large crash, whatnot. So once Captain gets back, I'll have some questions for him a little bit, and we can sit down on some of the things just because of the techniques and some different things that they talk about that you can do. But some good information, some nice things to do there. And then other than that, we're just kind of this week prepping for Memorial Day and getting all our barricades all put together, adding some, and getting ready to go with that. Other than that, really not too much going on besides some maintenance stuff and trying to keep the roads clean. So, any questions for me?
Council, any questions for Jeremy? And splash pad, the 25th, May 25th?
I think so. I know they were met. I know Jim had Dean Snyder at the park today. I think they were trying to get some of the bathroom stuff finally figured out with the doors. I know that was the last hiccup, so that's all I know. But yep.
And that would include the pool then and all of that.
I think the doors and that is just because of the controllers for the splash pad and everything are all kind of tied together a little bit with the doors. And just the one thing with that, all I know is he said with the doors is without the last bit, the hinges, if like a wind caught the door, there wouldn't be like a safety on them so they could fly open. So they're just kind of working through that. That's all I know.
So with dismissal of school for summer break here shortly,
Say that?
dismissal of school for
Yeah.
break, that will,
I think what's
24th.
Thursday? Thursday's last day.
Yeah.
So,
24th.
so
Yep.
action will be starting quickly in
Yeah.
this community. Yeah.
yes.
Great.
Yes, definitely. So,
Great, thank you.
yep, thanks.
City engineer report. Popular guy by the name of Matt Stedding.
Mayor, council. So, let's get started here on the North 20th Street basketball and pickleball courts. So you guys, I am sure all saw the pictures that I actually climbed up that big tree out there and took those from up above. So that was pretty fun. I did have my harness on for that one, so it worked out pretty good. So no, really, Heartland was out there. They got the surfacing done on both the basketball and the pickleball courts. And the plan is, we're potentially, depending on weather, they could start core drilling some of those 4-foot posts in the pickleball court area, possibly towards the end of this week. And they would start getting some of the fencing put up for the perimeter around the exterior of the pickleball courts. From when the surfacing was done, we have to wait about we have to go through a 14-day waiting period, and at that point, they can come in and start putting the acrylic surfacing and everything on. So then that's when it starts to actually really look like a pickleball court. And the plan is the basketball hoop foundations, those are set to hopefully get installed later this week, at which point we can get those goal setter basketball hoops up, and I think Scott, Jason, and I have a game of pig. Winner was going to buy surf and turf, I guess, over at Prime and Wine. So yeah, that kind of settles up that pickleball court. You guys have any questions on that one? Update on the South Shore housing development. So complete concrete, got curb and gutter installed all the way up on South Shore Estates project, and they started to do the actual roadway paving, and I would say they're up about 2/3. I just stopped out there here at the end of the day, and they were just finishing up pouring, so that one's coming along nicely. So I would guess probably not, because we're gonna get some severe weather here, it looks like tomorrow, so I would say Wednesday, Thursday-ish, they should be up to the end of the road there, so that'll be neat to see that completed. Any questions on that one? Okay, on the update on the Surf District Streetscape Improvement Project, so there's an awful lot going on down there right now. Yonko, they got all the demolition completed and removed on North Shore and the intersection of North Shore and Buddy Holly. Right now, Castor came in today, started pouring the concrete bases that the permeable pavers are gonna get set on. And depending on weather, we had to move some things around, but Castor's gonna be flipping back and forth between both the east and the west concrete portion for the setting base. Will be, again, probably not tomorrow. Perfect World be tomorrow and Wednesday they'd be finishing up, and then Wapsi'd be coming in on Thursday, setting those permeable pavers down, getting the sand down, setting the pavers, and then would have that section there open back up for the try on the 25th was the goal. Weather dependent, that could push things a little bit, but rest assured, again, we're working very closely with the chamber girls, because I know that one could wreak a little bit of havoc. So we're doing our best to make sure that gets opened up, and if not, I told Carrie, you're just gonna have to find a different route. So she panicked a little bit, but no, it was all good. So that's I guess I'll continue there. So after that's completed, we're gonna jump over and we're gonna close down 7th Ave real quick, and we're gonna get that crosswalk completed. The goal is to get everything kind of finished and finalized on that North Shore prior to tourist season ramping up. So that'll kind of get everything out of the way. We'll have North Shore open back up to get through there. Buddy Holly and 7th will then be closed for a week period at the same time, which isn't ideal, but that's kind of what it is for right now. And then as soon as we get 7th, like I said, a week period, we'll get that opened back up, and then we'll start down our 2nd and 3rd phases on Buddy Holly. So after about a week, 7th and North Shore will be open back up. So that's the game plan right now. Any questions on that? Update on the Beach Drive housing demolition. Talked to Randy today, had a good conversation with him. Everything's completed out there. The only thing that's left is have to cap two of the sanitary service lines, and then he's got to bring in some actual topsoil and get everything seeded. I told him that he's throwing in a 15-year seeding warranty, so he was good with that. But that project's all but completed and opened up for future development there. Any questions on that one? On the City Hall renovation. Talked to Ryan today, so all the flooring and everything is completed, the carpet. Electrical's done, HVAC's all but completed. They came in and they started working on the foundation out. They got the back rear steps removed, and they got the footings actually. They were supposed to be pouring those here late this afternoon, so those footings are back poured, and then they'll start on those rear steps. And Eddie's, they were in, and they got all the ballistic glass and everything measured for the front reception area, and they got the glass ordered for the front door. So we're really waiting on case work for that, is kind of the ultimate determining factor on when this is going to get done, because they need the case work in and they need the countertops in to install the ballistic glass in the entry area. So that's, if anything's the hang up, it's going to be waiting on the casework. But other than that, everything's going per plan and according to schedule. So everything's looking good in there. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Anything, Council?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you. Under Mayor's report, neither Stacy nor Chad are here tonight, so I go directly into the Washington, D.C. trip. Scott, add anything here if you'd like, but that was held last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday and Wednesday were travel times in which we flew out of Mason City into Baltimore, Washington International Airport, and then flew back in reverse on Wednesday afternoon. And truly, it does take a whole day when you come down to it, of transportation on each of those. And then on Tuesday, we were up and going by by 8 o'clock, and we were still going for pretty close till midnight, with meetings from during that time and right through the noon hour as well. But a very, very successful time. We haven't been out there since 2016, so that's 8 years. And I know certainly Grassley's office made mention of that. Well, we haven't seen you guys for 8 years. Where have you been? And well, there are a lot of things such as COVID and a big snowstorm, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought it was very, very well put together, well done. There were 18 of us representing Mason City, was the mayor, the city administrator, several others representing the business leadership in that particular community. And Clear Lake had pretty much the same here. Mark Dodd, representing One Vision, was, and also representing the chamber, was with us. Stacy Dawn, our CEO, chairperson, was along, Scott and myself, and I might say the CEO Chamber of Mason City did all of the planning and put the whole thing together. I think did very, very well. The places that we ate that I thought were significant was the Ebbett. The Ebbett is a very famous restaurant in Washington, D.C., quite close to the White House, to the monument, to many of the historical places there, World War II, Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Korean Memorial, all of those right there along the mall, as we all know that particular area. And we saw a lot of that. The Ebbett is a very, very, very good place to eat. Many of the Congress people, as well as those who are in government, have eaten there for many, many years. We ate one lunch that particular day, ate lunch at the Bull Feathers, and that's where Congress people simply slip down the hill for lunch. And that's been there for many, many years as well. I thought our representation was very good on that 18 people that went. 2 people representing Mercy Hospital were there. I think that was very, very good that we had them along. Great conversation with them about a variety of things. We even had a representative from the Union Pacific Railroad, and she dealt with agricultural marketing, so we had the agricultural part in there, which I think Congressman Grassley thought that was good as well. And 2 representatives, one each from contractor in this community as well as contractor in Mason City. I believe the 2 top contractors in this area were represented there on this particular team. I thought the discussion was absolutely very important for me, having been around here for a while and haven't gone out there for the 8 years. This was very, very refreshing to hear what was said and the networking of all those people that I just mentioned. And you come down to the bottom line, networking is the key, because out of networking comes greater and greater and greater things. So, Scott, any addition to that?
No, I'd echo everything. Beth Ann could probably support all that as well. I thought the opportunity to bring up the projects that we're working on, kind of things that we have planned for the future involving some of those federal programs out there was very beneficial to us. Keep the staffers aware and of what we've got going and what we got coming up. And they keep feeding us ideas on different programs that are coming down the pipe, so we're pleased about that. But yeah, as Nelson said, we got to spend a fair amount of time with both senators and Congressman Hinson, so it was a good time.
In addition, I'd like to congratulate all the high school grads that went through the ceremonies last night, I believe, or yesterday afternoon. And I'm not sure quite how many did graduate. And get that number. But it's always neat to come to this time of the year and the excitement that goes into graduation and the various parties that we have around the community celebrating those graduates and the The track and field, both boys and girls, did quite well. I watched a lot of that on TV over the weekend, at least Thursday, Friday, and Saturday part-time. They did very, very well. I did all of our spring sports from soccer, and Jeremy knows that one very well, tennis and golf. And now we slide right into all the summer activity. Doesn't seem possible. And I think, we've got to look at our housing as really a very positive in this community as it's going. Didn't, I believe, Ridge Development, didn't they say they have X number of twin homes that are already?
Pre-sold, yep, and some singles as well,
And
yep.
some, still coming.
Yep.
So that's very exciting to hear that. You look at that a year or two back, and we were scrambling at that point in time. Don't use that word in your media, please. And this weekend, we have, the Try?
Yep.
And what do they claim? We're going to be 6,000 people here?
520 competing, but support and staff and everybody along with them, I think they think maybe 6,000 over the weekend.
So if you aren't participating and volunteering in that, get out and watch them. That's quite an event. Fun to watch. Get down there by the seawall, and you'll be able to see the entry and the return of the bicycle race, the return of the runners, and the final finish line. It's exciting to have that event here in town. I have nothing further. Scott? your
Just
report.
run through these real quick here. Just want to give you a quick report on the Three Stars Memorial Sculpture. Did sign the agreement with Broden, so they were very pleased to get that work and wanted to pass on to the council their enthusiasm for the project, and so get that started. Then I'll slip down here to the kickoff meeting for the North Iowa Children's Museum feasibility study. Actually, I think it's at 9 o'clock. I think 10 o'clock East Coast time, but 9 o'clock Central. Creighton and I think Nelson's involved representing the city on that one. So we'll have that call with the consultant on the 24th at 9 o'clock. And then also the issuance of the RFP for the immersive museum integration and content development piece. Again, for the Music Enrichment Center, we worked with Atura to put together an RFP. We had been working with MECDINE, and they kind of gave us some information to use in the development of this RFP. And so we put that out, and we're getting some pretty good interest from potential bidders on this work. So really excited about some of the work that they've done elsewhere and what they could bring to our project here. So I think that will be pretty exciting to bring back for your review here in a few weeks. And then last, I just wanted to give you an update on the process for the bond issuance for the Surf District projects. Just want to review quickly here a time frame for you. So right now, you've probably been aware that the interest rates are falling. So we recently sold an issue. Clear Lake Bank and Trust bought it for 4%. I think it was a 10-year note, 4% interest cost on that as a $1.6 million debt issuance. We're probably looking at towards the threes, the lower end of the threes here. So this will be, as you know, we're working with Northland Securities on this, so this will be a competitive placement here. We're going to have the issue rated. So right now we're working with Northland and Chip and the gang there and our legal counsel to go through the Moody's rating process. So this will be the first rating that Clear Lake has ever had here, ever. So just to give you an example, the school, when we had the big wellness center project and the track and field and all those improvements, they issued a note in 2020, and they were rated for that issuance, and they were rated as a AA3. Mason City is a AA3. The county is a AA2. The county issued, I think it was when they did the jail, they issued some debt there, and they were a AA2. But again, back in 2012. So we really think where we're at, just kind of going through the Moody's application process, we think we're really at a baseline AA2. So our hope is to be higher. Now they have a whole list of things. I'll tell you that. Again, the constitutional debt limit and our level of reserves are the most critical pieces of that evaluation. So I think we're going to be in a good position for the rating. And so when you go through the rating process, obviously you're hoping that pays dividend on the interest rate. And so I think we're going to see potentially maybe even 0.5% that might save us by having this good rating on it. So over a course of a 10 to 12-year note here on about 5.2 million, you're talking a couple $100,000. So it'll cost us maybe about $30,000 to have the rating, but over the life of that bond, that might save us over, in that 180 to 200,000 category on interest. So definitely worth the time and investment of doing that. As I mentioned, we're looking at, Jacob and I kind of looking at the numbers on this, and we think that 5.2 million. So we are going to use reserves for this part of this project, but looking at what we had to turn back last year in unutilized TIF revenues, we believe we can support that 5.2 million just with that available TIF that we have left there. So, yeah, I think on the interest rate, again, we're hopeful, looking at where we may come in. Again, the 4% we had here not that long ago, I'm hoping it's less than 3. Well, we'll see. It probably 3.1, but the rates have definitely come down, so we definitely want to move here pretty quickly. The timeline, so at the next council meeting on June 3rd, we'll have the council authorize and approve the resolution for the preliminary official statement that we'll use in the issuance. June 4th, we have the rating call with Moody's, Jacob, myself, Northland, and also Dorsey and Whitney on that call. Then we anticipate getting that rating by June 11th. So we should know where we're going to be. Again, I'm hoping for that AA1. So obviously the AAA is the very rare. The AA1 is extremely rare as well. So if we could get that, we'd be in really, really rare company. And the AA2 is quite good. What the school had before and Mesa City, the AA3, that's just, the 3 is like a grade, so you're in the very high category. It's just a grading of the very high, so it'd be like to Beth Ann's work, whether you got an A+ or a A- or something like that. It's just a variant of a really high category. So we hope, again, to be in that AA2 at a baseline, maybe the AA1. So then we'll come back on June 17th and consider the bond purchase agreement to secure that interest rate. And then on July 1st, we'd have a resolution to authorize the issuance. And so we've kind of scheduled this out so that the closing and the delivery of funds would be in our fiscal year 25 budget, not 24. So, and it's going to be exciting to see how that shakes out. So, all this talking we've been doing about our financial prowess, I guess, we'll be putting that to the test.
Scott, it sounds like you said it'll take a couple weeks for Moody's to collect all that information, have the phone call, and then you mentioned 30,000. I wish I could find a way to make 30,000 in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll have that call with the 4th, with them on the 4th, and then they'll get back to us on the 11th. So yeah, I anticipate knowing in a week. But yep, the 30,000 to go through the ratings process, we hope again will pay substantial dividend on the interest rate.
It's definitely money well spent. If we can save 0.5%, if it's a little more, it's
Yeah.
even better. So
Yeah, I think that's
really
again kind of the baseline's going to be probably in that 150 to 180 category, maybe higher.
Did we ever get rated before?
Never.
We had
no.
talked about it before, but
We
never.
did talk about it before. That was when we were going to do the big hotel project out at the interstate, and that development didn't materialize, but we were looking at a different development proposal there. And so then we got to working on the Marriott project and went a different path. So we did talk about it, but never did it. Good memory.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
It's an exciting time to be a Clear Laker. Anything else, council?